It's 6 o'clock. We're calling to order the Bastrop Economic Development Court meeting Monday, June 19th, 2017 at the Bastrop City Hall. Do we have any public comments tonight? Hearing none, we're moving on to item 3.1, approval of meeting minutes of the regular board meeting of May 15th, 2017, page 3 of your packet. Is there a motion to approve those?
I move approval of the minutes of the May 15th meeting.
We have a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Item 3.2, acceptance of the Bastrop EDC's financial summary report for the period ending May 31st, 2017, page 6.
So this is 66% of our budget year through the end of May. You've got the financial report that is in your packet. Revenues are $1.469 million, or 66% of budget. We are right on target to make budget at the moment, and sales tax has been running right around plus or minus right at budget. So we expect to make budget on revenues, but it's going to be down to the wire and be close. Expenditures, we've spent $1.342 million, or 55% of budget, and as I always remind y'all, we did do the defeasance earlier in the year, and so when you get to the expense chart, you see that $370,000 to defease that 2008 COs, excuse me. Looking at sales tax revenue year over year, we're tracking just barely above where we were last year. Looking at the expenditure chart, personnel 15%, supplies material 1%, maintenance and occupancy 3%, contractual services 12%, business incentive marketing 21%, capital projects 4%, and then debt services 44% with the defeasance in there. Looking at the year over year expenditure chart, you see that we're closing in to get back closer to where we should be tracking. You just see that jump in November when we defeased that bond, but we've been tracking right along the same expenditure chart. The next is the summary chart for the year. Fund balance at the end of September 30th, 2017 is projected to be about $3.7 million. I ran some preliminary numbers today, and our ending fund balance will be at least a couple $100,000 higher than what it's showing up there with the budget. So I think we're going to be in good shape financially at the end of the year on our fund balance. Total debt obligation, this is a chart that once you've seen it once, you've seen it before, that we're going to get down on the percentage of our annual debt service payment over the next couple of years, and be in really good shape. And so I went through interest income, looking at our financial statements for May 31st, looking at the interest income. Year-to-date's $19,693. Our budget was $10,000. The year-to-date prior was $6,734. That really is the investment policy that the EDC adopted last year, where we diversified into Texas Pool, Texas Class, and then the CD ladder. I believe it was Texas Class. I looked at their yield last week, and they were up, because of the Fed funds rate change, they were up half a point. They were paying over 1% now, 1.12% on their monthly rate. So then whenever you move on to page 3 of the financial statement.
We've got different numbers.
Yeah, mine's, here I could do that. It'll be
17.
Page 17 in your packet. We knew going into this year that marketing travel and training travel would most likely go over budget with us doing more personal selling 101. At some point, we'll be doing a transfer out of some of the other marketing accounts. So it's a wash marketing wise. We just know that we're doing more personal selling 101 and having more marketing travel we don't have a lot of direct marketing expenses. We don't go buy a lot of print ads. We don't do those things that you traditionally would see 10, 15 years ago. More of what we do is one-on-one meetings. And so we knew those would be off, and we'll have to get that in line with what it is. You will notice on 5610 issuance cost year to date, it says $18,554. That's actually a credit. The city of Bastrop is actually returning money to us they did a refunding last year that we were not a part of and charged us for it, and we're getting money back. I did. Well, yes. So.
Good job.
So that's kind of where we're at on the financials. Overall, I think we're in good shape with our financial statements and our balance sheet. And I will answer any questions.
Thank you for restructuring the debt. Big difference. Do you have any?
And we need to. We do.
Mm-hmm.
A motion to accept the financials as presented.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Item 3.3, a very good thing. Presentation and discussion regarding the Bastrop EDC being awarded the 2017 Texas Economic Development Council Workforce Excellence Award. Congrats.
So, Gene and I were in Plano a couple Thursdays ago, to accept the Workforce Excellence Award from the Texas Economic Development Council. Ben from Workforce Solutions was with us, as well as Jennifer from Bastrop ISD. And the nice lady in the middle is Judy Levine, our copywriter. She happened to live about 10 minutes from where the award ceremony was and came over and joined us. It was the first time that Gene or I had either met her. I don't think Angela still has met her, but she does she wrote the press release for us. But this is the top workforce award by the Texas Economic Development Council for the population class under 15,000, and the press release is in your packet. But Gene's hard work, Angela's hard work is for the Youth Career Day in 2016 is what the award was for. So thank you, Gene. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you. It's impressive. Item 3.4, consideration, discussion, and possible action on approving a business incentive grant for the building located at 916 Main Street, the law office of Derek Van Gilder, owned by the Cherrick Corporation in the amount of $7,100, page 25.
Yeah, this is a standard business improvement grant performance agreement. Dan Hayes Clark is here from the Main Street Design Committee. Sarah could not join us tonight. The application was accepted as complete, scoring enough points. The design committee did ask for some modifications to the proposed design to make it, to enhance its front, but there is enough money in the budget, and it is an accepted and eligible application.
I move to approve a Bastrop Economic Development Corporation Business Incentive Grant, bid number 2017-006, for the building located at 916 Main Street, owned by Cherrick Corporation for FY 2017, and authorize the Executive Director to execute the agreement on behalf of the EDC.
Item 3.5, consideration, discussion, and possible action on a resolution approving the transfer of Lot 1, Lanford Place, property owned by the Bastrop EDC near the Rodeo Arena and Mayfest Hill, R36831 and R48757, to the city of Bastrop, page 38. Sean.
Many years ago, the EDC acquired the red piece of property up here on the screen. The blue is Mayfest Park, where the Rodeo Arena is located. The EDC, back in, I believe it was 2014, agreed to give this property to the city of Bastrop. As part of that, we put it on their responsibility to do the special warranty deed, and hence we're now in 2017, and they delivered it to us. And with our change in legal counsel, back when it was originally transferred to them, a motion and second would have sufficed, but Charlie is correct in that we actually need a resolution of the board to transfer the property. We will then go to the city council and have them actually accept the property from us, and then we'll execute the special warranty deed and sign that property over to them. It was originally a purchase, Angela, correct me if I'm wrong, it was purchased because that was a site that we were considering for the convention center before we went across the street. We really don't have any use for it. It actually has a very large pipeline easement that runs through the middle of it, and is not very developable for anything but joining the rodeo arena and being used as part of that complex up there.
In reading through the material, this is already done. We're legally exercising the deed, correct?
We are papering the deal. So we're passing the resolution. We'll go get the council to accept it, and we'll sign the special warranty deed over to the city of Bastrop. It was previously agreed to by the EDC board to give the property to them, but we need to properly paper it for our records and the city's records.
I move to approve resolution number 2017-008, transferring Lot 1 Lanford Place from the Bastrop EDC to the city of Bastrop.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? The motion passes. Item 3.6, consideration, discussion, and possible action on approving a letter of support for Bastrop County's application for a conditional use permit to erect a communications tower in the Bastrop Business and Industrial Park. Page 46 of your packet.
So Bastrop County has under contract 1501 Business Park Drive in the industrial park, and is looking to get a conditional use permit from the city of Bastrop for a communications tower. With the city of Bastrop granting that CUP, it grants them a variance to the restrictive covenants in the park. And so the county made application to us for that variance for the restrictive covenants. We have informed them that it is approved subject to the CUP. They would like for us as the EDC and the caretaker of those restrictive covenants to support their conditional use permit. This is going to be the tower that is used for 911 dispatching and all of those good services that we all public safety enjoy. It's going to be in the northwest corner at the rear of that lot. We will notify additionally, separate from the city, just as a courtesy, all the neighbors out there in the park, but we're asking permission to issue a letter of support and represent to the public that the EDC supports this conditional use permit to being applied for at the city of Bastrop.
It's a big tower, but it's an appropriate location.
Yes.
If I remember, AT&T looked at putting a tower out there a long time ago, but they were looking at 75 feet, and the topography wouldn't allow it to function. So I think the extra height is necessary out there.
Yeah, we have one tower in the park. We have a ground lease for a tower up on the top of the hill. I believe it's Verizon operates that tower, or one of their subsidiaries. And so this would be a similar height tower. It's just farther down the hill, so it's got to be taller to get up over what would be Pine Forest Unit 6, that ridge there.
Discussion?
I move that we approve a letter supporting the Bastrop County's request for a conditional use permit, allowing them to erect a 175-foot communications tower in the Bastrop Business Industrial Park, and authorize the executive director to sign on behalf of Bastrop EDC.
I second.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? The motion passes. And we have a newly elected council member in the audience. Welcome, Mr. Lyle Nelson. Congratulations. Item 3.7, workshop session. The Bastrop EDC Board of Directors will conduct a workshop session to review the successes and priorities of the EDC and to preview and discuss the EDC's fiscal year 2017-2018 budget. Sean.
I'm going to stand down here for this, number one, so I can better see it. So Christy asked us a few weeks ago to really, as we got into budget season, to really look at what the success of the EDC has been in recent history as well as going back a decade. And so we have mulled this over for several weeks, and today with being blocked for board meeting and being caught up, we actually put this presentation together today. But we geared it toward the theory of economic development that we use, which is the ABC theory of economic development. And so we do type A economic development, which is primary jobs that bring new dollars into our economy. We do type B economic development, which is non-primary jobs and capital investment. We do community development. We do development and redevelopment. We do education, workforce development, and then internally we have finance and governance. And so when we went back and looked at type A economic development, since I got here, we've signed the AEI technology deal as well as the Elliott Electric Supply deal. But since 2007, all 6 of these are in the industrial park. There's 152 jobs that have been created from them and $7.5 million in capital investment. And this is just the real property capital investment tied to these 6 projects. There's 3 other projects in the park that predate 2007. Bluebonnet Health has their clinic and facility in the park. Garments to Go has their facility in the park, and then as well as DigTech Line Tech has their facility in the park. And so total, there are 9 operating companies today in the park, with the county acquiring 1501. That will make 10 businesses that are in the park. 152 jobs on this board, but with all of those, we're going to go back and do the math back, but 250, 300 jobs within the industrial park when all of those are added up and included. So in non-primary jobs, the type B, going back to 2007, we've done 5 deals. The 3 big ones are Burleson Crossing that we're engaged in, Buc-ee's, and then we provided a grant to Shulman Theaters when they went closed and reopened with their digital 8 screens. We went and added up all of the appraised value for all of these from BCAD, and that's a total of $54 million in real property that on top of the sales tax that's generated from all of them. We also provided a grant for the Lost Pines Arts Center to acquire their land. And most recently, in the last couple of years, we've sold Maxine's Cafe, the old BEDC office, to expand, and they've got their catering kitchen open and continue doing renovations. We did a big grant with them to do ADA bathrooms in there, and so that project continues to move forward. We've also in Type B, and this only goes back to 2007, this program actually goes all the way back to '99. We provided $524,000 in facade and mega grants, and that's just our share of those grants. That does not include the match that was provided by the businesses. And with the business improvement grant, we provided $42,577 plus the $7,100 tonight, so almost $50,000 this year in business improvement grants. So when we look at this, you know, we do have a very aggressive retail recruiting campaign. We've had it for a while. You see it in our sales tax collections. We provided data for Academy and Hobby Lobby most recently. We've had conversations prior to them opening for places like Chick-fil-A and Wingstop and Sally's, Papa John's, Fuzzy Tacos since I was here. And then, you know, we work with some of our local folks as well in Copper Shot Distillery in Crosshairs, Texas, out on 71. And so we, through our retail recruiting program, we have a ton of data, gap analysis, where our shoppers are coming from, their psychographics associated with them. And if you see a retail strip center out there, a retail site out there, we've been in touch with their commercial brokers. When we meet with retailers, we're supplying them their data. Our data has probably been in the hands of almost every retailer that's located in Bastrop because it's such valuable information. Whether we had a conversation with them or not, it may have been their broker, it may have been the landowner providing that data to them, especially on the national and regional level retailers. And so that's something that we've traditionally done well and continue to do well even today. We run 2 programs across our A and B platforms, one of which is our Business Retention and Expansion program. We relaunched that in October of 2016. It got off to a rocky start in 15. We pulled it back and did it again. Since October of 16, we've had 21 surveys and 4 touches, so that's 25 over that time period. That works out to be about 4 a month, which is a really good, healthy number. As Christy and I were talking about before the meeting, I'm out in public touching businesses on a regular basis beyond our formal program, which also helps get our message out there and what we can do and what we are doing. Our Small Business Development and Entrepreneurialism program, really our first formal foray into this was 2017 launch. This is the last program that we brought out of the box as being a full-service EDC. The customer service training that's coming up here in July, the Main Street program and us are partnering on it. That's another program that would fall in this category. Angela and I are discussing this fall the follow-up to launch 2017 and what that's going to look like. And so you're going to see us be more aggressive in this space, especially for a community our size, growing businesses locally, being able to provide them financing to come and be here, whether it's the granddaughter that's graduating with their a degree in, now it skips my mind, the example we always use, in art design or and wants to open a design studio or a design shop. We want to be able to help all of those people come and do business in Bastrop. So we also do community development. And currently, these are the projects that we have outstanding: 921 Main Street, the downtown trail expansion, the Convention Center Host Hotel feasibility study, the Main Street Improvement Project, which the city is actually performing on that. We just funded it. The Pine Forest Unit 6 drainage study, we were just funding on that. And then also, we funded $600,000 for water development for the city of Bastrop, which, yes, we did pass the election for that, Charlie. This is going to be a question he would ask me tomorrow. So, I do. Yes, we did have the election for that. So we also, in development and redevelopment, the law says we can do affordable housing. And we know that workforce is one of our #1 issues. Talent is one of our issues. And so we engaged developers on affordable housing. In 2014, the EDC board went out and started the housing demand study that was accepted by the board in 2015. We had an update done in 2017. The multifamily feasibility report was done in 2015 as part of the RCLCO housing demand study. We're also involved with Bastrop County Cares Affordable Housing Working Group, which is looking at affordability issues and how to get more affordable housing in Bastrop County. And then we've worked with 4 different residential single-family developments as well as with the Hunters Crossing apartments in the last 2 years. We also do commercial, retail, office, light industrial, and we work with a lot of different projects. We had one in last week that was having comment issues with the city of Bastrop, and they needed another set of eyes to go, hey, what's going on here? Why are we having to submit so many times? And we were able to sit down and visit with planning and visit with the client and look at their comments and go, here's what you need to do to get through this last round of comments so that you can get your site plan and get moving. Bastrop Station, we're probably most famous for helping them get their 50-foot sign and supporting that. Bucky's the same thing, helping them get their taller signage. We work with Duke on his Pecan Park commercial. Pecan Grove is the track that wraps around Taco Cabana, which we're actively engaged in today. We've worked with Burleson Crossing since before its inception, but we still work with them today to help find retailers for that, to finish out and fill out that center. Hunter's Crossing Commercial, it's a little bit more difficult site, but we're in touch with their brokers and are working with them to see what fits and what will work there. The Walmart Power Center, you probably have seen behind GameStop, has got some renovations going on there. Papa John's is in the strip center on the other side that we've worked with, but we have worked with a lot of those developments in there. And then even on the local level, Rundell Business Park, Susan Nogus represents that, and we work with Susan to try to find some folks for those 5,000, 6,000 square foot buildings up there. The settlement sold last year, and we're working with that owner. He actually bought 3 buildings here in town. But through the development and redevelopment, if you've got a property that you're looking to build or one that you're looking to remodel, you can come in and we provide what we call a concierge service. And so you can visit with us before you buy it, before you come down to City Hall, but once you come down to City Hall, if you run into a roadblock, come see us. Not that we can grease the wheels at City Hall, but we're willing to listen and see if there's a communication gap, if something's getting lost in translation, and we can help move something forward. We also are our own developer in the Business and Industrial Park. The boards accepted the East 80-acre land use study back in 2015. We currently have ongoing the planning, engineering, and site improvements out in the park. Y'all saw last month the north end engineering. We flipped and gone to the other end of the park now and are looking at the south end of the park, and hopefully in a few months we'll be coming back with what that end of the park looks like in the future. The dark fiber backbone that the board approved has been installed. We're just waiting on TxDOT's permit. The contractor is to be able to actually tie that in. We're getting close to being complete on that project. It's the TxDOT permit to run that underneath the highway. We also do education and workforce development. This is, and the date on here is wrong, it's actually May of 2015. It was my second month on the job. I did a whole presentation associated with why education and workforce development was so important to economic development. And the board at the time and boards since then have blessed this program, and we've jumped in feet first. And Bastrop Youth Career Day is what we got the award for. This is before my time, but we believe in BISD was actually a program that came out of the EDC and was handed off to the Chamber of Commerce and the Education Committee. And they have taken that and gone and run with it and been more successful than we could be just because of the volunteer base that they have accessible to them. The Bastrop Career Fair, we've done 2 adult job fairs, and we're mulling it around in our office if we want to try to do a 3rd one. But anything that we can do to help adult skills development as well as matching jobs and careers and providing training for them all comes under this program that Gene runs for us and does a great job with. Finance is one of our internal ones. We adopted internal financial controls back in 2015, and part of that was diversifying our investment portfolio, which we've seen some dividends from that. And the diversified EDC investment portfolio, it came out of the internal financial controls, and then we went out and brought y'all Texas Class and Tex Pool and the CD ladder that we're in, the certificates of obligation, the defeasance that we did, the 2008 defeasance. And then for the first time in 2015, the city actually brought the audit to us for the board to accept. That any of us can remember, we don't remember the board actually looking at the audit or seeing the audited financials of the EDC on an annual basis. And so in 15 and 16, the boards accepted the comprehensive audit that is done on our books. Governance, I'm hopeful that we will not have to go back and amend the bylaws anytime soon. I've been here a little over 2 years, and I've had the opportunity to do that twice. But we also have restated the Articles of Incorporation. We formalized our internal policies and procedures, and we'll continue to work on that. And we've hired new legal counsel in governance and what we do. Angela runs compliance for us, and so once a contract is signed and it goes in the file, she makes sure that they're dotting their I's, the companies are dotting their I's, crossing their T's, we're doing the same thing, and that the files are complete. Her and Kathy do that together, and we're very appreciative of their meticulousness of making sure that we're doing what we need to on the backside. We have had the opportunity to, and you'll see why on the next slide, we've had the opportunity to provide a plethora of board trainings. In 15, we did ED 101. We've done a few strategic planning trainings. We've done goals, metrics, and known performance indicators. I did a couple of presentations back in 15 about the type of marketing we needed to be doing, why development was going west of the Colorado River. We've had Aaron Farmer in from the Retail Coach to talk about retail recruiting, and then Eric Davis to talk about site developments and what good sites look like to developers. Governance is also the board members. As y'all know, we've got 5 of the 7 seats currently filled, but then you look at the past board members, and since I've been here in April of 15, we've got an equal number of board members that have come on and off this board since that time frame. And then in marketing, y'all see that from time to time. We bring that through. We didn't do any specific slides for this other than we've rebuilt our entire program. The presentation that we have, we've rebuilt the website. We've got some new features that we will be signing contracts on for the website to enhance them. All of our collateral materials, whether it be digital or print, you know, they commingle with each other and work well. And so that's the theory of economic development that we practice. That's the successes that we've had over the last couple of years as well as the last 10 years. Any questions on this part of the workshop? I just want kind of everybody to understand the basis of what we do and why we do it. April of 2015 is when I started.
Well done.
So I'm going to hand out 2 different things now for the budget portion of the workshop. This is something that Cam has been asking for, and rightfully so.
Thank you, Cam.
So this is, y'all ask about what we do marketing-wise. This is our marketing calendar. And if it's got an X in the left-hand column, it's something that we're interested in doing, but it just didn't work out for us this year, and so we track them year to year. And so, as you can see, this is kind of a lengthy list of things that locally that we participate in, regionally we participate in, and statewide participate in. But I wanted y'all to have that as part of understanding our marketing budget and why we do some of the things that we do and where we're going. So this is Angela and I were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, and this worked real well last year. Is we brought a preview budget without a lot of the details in it. We'll go in July and go through all of the details and have a work plan that goes along with each one of these pages. But if you'll, I should have numbered the pages, but if you'll start on the page that says annual budget, revenue, expenses, it's the second page. That's kind of a synopsis of the revenue and then the expense categories. The third page is revenue. The one thing that you will notice on sales tax, in visiting with the finance director for the city of Bastrop, they are going to hold sales tax flat. And so sales tax, again, is going to be projected at $2,209,500. The cell tower lease agreement, interest income, and then interest on a note that we have outstanding, we're expecting revenue to be $2,248,300 next year. Turning the next page is administration. We're still waiting on some numbers to come in from finance and HR, and so the 2017-18 numbers as well as the FY19 numbers are as close as we can get them today with the information that we have. But we're looking at that being about $357,000, 15.88% of a budget. Turning to operations, we are looking at about 120,000, and that's a notable change going to 5.38%. The industrial park maintenance, that has traditionally been done with a contract for service through the city of Bastrop. We're actually going to pull that out of the city of Bastrop contract for next year and expense it through the EDC with our own contractor. The city does a great job on the right-of-way mowing, but they don't have the time, nor they really just don't have the time to do our shredding as well as the maintenance of our stormwater and detention ponds. And so we're actually going to pull that out, and you'll see later that we're going to get some cost savings from that from the city of Bastrop in the contract for service. The other thing that we're anticipating that our lease will stay the same. The other big change is dues, subscriptions, and publications, and I will bring y'all the complete list in July. We've actually moved all of our software subscriptions into that cost code. Some of them were being paid out of professional services when they were really subscriptions to software. It's a more appropriate place for them to be. And so that is the significant increase in this budget category. Flipping over to marketing and advertising, they were in professional services. Correct. Then whenever you flip over to marketing and advertising, I found about the 6% number. The law allows for up to 10%, but 6% seems to be a relatively safe budget number. We typically come in about 4.5%, but this is a category, a group of categories that we never want to be short in. So I'd rather over budget that extra 1.5% and then not need it than have to come back mid-year and explain to y'all why I need a budget amendment for marketing. We know from this year and the way that we're now accounting for marketing travel, we're going to be in that 25-200 range. Business development doesn't go up a whole lot. Training and travel doesn't go up a whole lot. Local miscellaneous advertising and sponsorships, we found that the 15,000, just because of the way we redid the cost codes last year, it's going to be closer to 18. National advertising is going to be coming down. It was budgeted in the current year at 50,000. It needs to be about 30,000. Regional advertising, the same thing, was 15,000 in the current budget year, needs to come down to 12. Digital and advertising will stay the same at 10. And then we're going to reallocate some dollars to special advertising and marketing. And hopefully next month, I will be bringing a program to you that'll explain why we need the additional dollars there. So moving on to professional services. 62,000 for professional services. We've pulled out some dollars, but we're also going to be asking for some additional dollars that are true professional services. We pulled those out and moved them into subscriptions, but there's some other items that we are going to be asking for that bring that back up a little bit to make up that difference. We are moving the audit here and going to create an audit cost code. That used to be charged to administrative services, but it really needs to be reflected as a professional service. Legal administrative, that's for Charlie to show up to every meeting and to answer our phone calls. The next line is legal for projects, and that is solely for as we're doing type A and type B deals and have project legal expenses so that we can account for the administrative expenses on one side, but then our deal flow on the other side. So unless we're doing a deal, we shouldn't be using that account. Yes. Our legal expenses have dropped, yes. Engineering, this is just general engineering, about 15,000. Contractual services, it's kind of a funny spot to put it, but that is actually the Kershaw parking lot lease. And so that goes to 6.05. There are two outstanding items that are not included in the budget at the bottom there. The labor market analysis, which I think we're still researching as staff what we want to do. That is the estimated cost, worst case cost on there. We're trying to see if there's what we really want, what we really need. Is it something that we want to do every year and be adding on it, or is it something we want to do once every 3 years? But we'll be coming back with a more firm number that will need to be, if it's something the board wants to do, that will need to be added in the budget. And then the TR Entrepreneurial Program is a program that we're working on and vetting to really beef up our entrepreneurial and small business development, and you'll actually be getting a full presentation on that in the near future, and that's its estimated cost. And those are outside the budget numbers. City projects and services, we have reached an agreement with the City of Bastrop on city maintenance services. We've been budgeting $139,000, been spending about $90,000. When we go look at the hours allocated, we've pulled out the business park for the right-of-way mowing from this contract, but we've actually agreed to a contract with the City of Bastrop that'll be coming to the board, going to the council, everybody approving it, knock on fake wood, that they'll be taking over the monument mowing as well as the right-of-way mowing over the course of the next 5 years. And so as you see, it's $83,250 next budget year, and then it drops to $66,600 in FY19. Main Street program support, we are asking the board, we have not increased that in many, many years, and Sarah is doing an excellent job in supporting us in economic development, and we're asking the board to fund her program at $50,000, which will keep it at that 1/3, 2/3 ratio between hotel occupancy tax and the EDC funding for that program. City administrative shared services, after looking at the accruals for it and the actual services they provide, that's about $18,000, and so we'll be bringing an administrative services contract. And then the remainder of that we've been spending is actually actual cost reimbursements, and so that's the audit for $5,000, that's the $7,000 below there. There's communications that we reimburse them for. And so we're actually going to be bringing back an administrative services contract with the city for next budget year.
You started that conversation with them yet?
Yes, they've agreed to the numbers. Now, whether or not they approve the contract's another story. So then looking at the BEDC projects and grants, nothing really changes there. Tracy Waldron and I have not swapped numbers on the 380 reimbursement agreements. That's my number. I think hers will probably be a little bit south of mine, but we'll be okay there. Water rights funding, and then the land grant rebates is always an interesting item. We actually have that cash on hand and have it basically in escrow or as a liability on our balance sheet, and we're holding that cash separately from our fund balance. And so that's actually a rebate. Those are both rebates of $28,050. It jumps up next year because Jamco's rebate comes due, but that's $538,000. The next fund page is the infrastructure projects. At this moment, we'll be holding the public hearing for the downtown trail expansion next month, asking the board to reallocate the 180 from this year, the 250 from next year, and 250 the year after that to fully fund that project. But that's where those show up. At this moment in time, until we open the proposals next Friday, I can't guess what that may or may not be. And so then on debt service, those numbers are set by our debt service schedules. That number comes down to 13% of revenue from the 25 and 31% that it was previously. So the defeasance helped. Infrastructure I need to turn my page. And then we have not allocated any money into miscellaneous or contingency, and so if you go back to the third page where you've got the revenue and expenses on the same page, we currently have $247,220 of unallocated funds, surplus. And if you'll look to the left of that, you'll see that we look like we're going to go into the fund balance for $27,000. That's the early projections. That's actually down from the $184,000 when we did the budget because of the defeasance. We should run fairly close to to an even budget this year, even with the defeasance. So that is the preview for tonight. We will bring, at the July meeting, we will bring all of the details and the work plans for all of those, but we wanted y'all to kind of get your head wrapped around those, present any, generally what the big expense projects that we may want to undertake to enhance our programs, and answer any questions that y'all have, or hear anything that you might want to see added or considered.
I don't think this would make any difference in the budget, but if we have not yet reached out to the Seton folks to see what kind of help they might need to make sure that they do get that project going, number one, and then number two, what kind of labor force they might need that we could help them on. If we haven't done that, we should.
We are.
Okay.
He's not talking. Okay. Any other items?
Yeah, just a quick question. So the, on page, we'll call it 1, 2, 3, 4, where professional services,
Yes, sir.
that, those two on the bottom, they're not included in the budget.
That is correct. They would be one-time charges should the board allow us to do those. I think the labor market analysis is a no-brainer. The entrepreneurial program, I think, is a no-brainer as well, but I want y'all to see the program and the community to buy into the program before we put them in the budget.
So using quick math, we're projecting a 6.5% increase of budget over last year because the debt service is going down. We don't have that. So if you mold that difference up 6.5 without that.
Correct.
Okay.
Anything else?
So we'll have a much longer budget workshop in July where we get into the nitty-gritty details of this, but I want y'all to kind of see the outline of it and how it's formatted. Those of y'all, I guess all of y'all went through the budget process last year. No? So we have actually reformatted this and made it a whole lot easier to read. My previous spreadsheet, which this actually pulls from, actually goes back 5 years and like to confuse people with it. So we tried to make it simple.
Then on top of that, we'll have $3.7 million in essence in the bank.
Correct.
Our financial situation is much improved from when I started. Thank you. All right, are we ready to come out of workshop? Yes. All right, the workshop session is closing. We'll move to item 3.8, a report on Bastrop EDC projects and events.
Before we go there,
Yes.
the thing you handed out that you said that Cam had been asking for, the marketing calendar, do we physically attend all of these, or are these places where we get our name in front of them?
All of the above. Some of them we attend, some of them we have contractors there, some of them are Opportunity Austin is there. The ones with X's are ones that we didn't make for some reason. It's speaking engagements that I have locally, like the Rotary Club is on here. Some of the Team Texas events we won't go, but Team Texas will supply leads back to us. Site Location Partnership is the same way when they work a trade show for us.
Can you, and not tonight, but maybe by the next time we meet, can you indicate on there the significant ones that we'll physically be going to? Those that'll take a lot of money to go to?
The type of participation,
Yes,
if it's direct or indirect.
Yeah, that's easy enough for us to do.
All right, moving, if you follow along on page 49, Sean, why don't you walk us through these events?
So we had our second coffee chat this year and had 20 plus folks show up, give or take. It was standing room only again. good mix of community members. Not a lot of repeats. I would say probably a third of them were repeats from the one that we had in March, which is always good. We had lots of good conversation about the EDC as well as Main Street. The city of Bastrop had, Wesley was there, Trey was there, and could answer questions on the city's behalf. But it's just a good information session, well attended. The next one's going to be in September. We haven't set the date yet, but we will do the one in September. And then in December, we will turn around and actually have an open house in the evening at the EDC office. And then we'll start the coffee chats again next year.
And we, as a group, have always been very careful not to have a quorum accidentally on one of these things. This time we were so effective that we didn't have any board members. So,
yeah, the rule of thumb is, at least inside of the office, is no more than 2 of y'all. So if you're interested in coming to something like Coffee Chat and we're sending out the general invitation, just let us know that you're interested in coming. And when the first 2 of you respond, we'll let the third one know that they missed the boat. And there are certain things that we've got an event coming up next Friday that we'll be sending an invitation out to the board directly. I know Kevin's going to be there, but we have one other spot for the best countywide breakfast that the EDC actually hosts on the 30th. So when you see that stuff, you're like going, oh, I want to go, just email us, pick up the phone, call us. Kathy is the keeper of that information for us.
and by the same token, if you see that none of us are going, give us a flag so that we can have some representation.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Item 2.
The fiber light project, they notified us that they are complete in the park and awaiting their TxDOT permit to tie it into the fiber corridor. And so we're excited about that. AEI Technology, as soon as they tie in, will be the first user on that in the park. And so we suspect that as contracts come due on other service providers, that they will have some additional takers on that service from our existing tenants. The downtown trail expansion, the public hearing is scheduled for July 17th and a resolution approving that project. We continue to get nothing but good response from that. The retail and restaurant customer service training, we've partnered with the Main Street program, or the Main Street program has partnered with us. I'm not real sure how that works sometimes, but those are coming up in July. So if you've got a retail operation or a restaurant in Bastrop, it is training for you and your employees and Texas-friendly customer service, and so those are coming up in July 10th. We also received another award, which it's on the floor. For some reason, I thought I'd be down here. But for the 3rd year in a row, although we can't find the 14 certificate and move to the new office, the EDC has earned the Economic Excellence Recognition, which is basically board training, staff training, best practices in economic development, and so we have been recognized for economic excellence. And we appreciate, I know Drusilla has gone to sales tax workshop, Christy has gone to sales tax workshop, Kevin went to sales tax workshop. Those are the kinds of things that get us points to be eligible for this, as well as staff going. That's coming up here. It's on the calendar if you want to go.
Hint, hint. Thank you, Sean. Thank you. Thanks to all of you.
And then the RFQ for 921 Main Street is due Friday, June 23rd. Charlie and I will be having a conversation tomorrow because we set the review for Monday the 26th, except for I will be in Washington, D.C. And so we kind of have to figure out how to reschedule the RFQ opening because I will not be here. And then Opportunity Austin. The mayor was kind enough to speak on a panel of regional mayors at the quarterly investor breakfast. It had barely ended, and we were getting texts and emails back from folks that attended telling us what a good job she did. It is very good for us to be able to have somebody go speak coherently about Bastrop and the opportunities here, and we're very appreciative of the mayor taking time out of her day, especially since that thing starts at 7:30 in the morning, to go down to the Four Seasons in Austin and speak about Bastrop.
I had several people that attended that afterwards made contact with me, people that I'd worked with in Austin, and they had really good things to say about our mayor and her demeanor, her presentation. Looks like she did a really good job.
Well, we as community owe her thanks already. Good job.
And then the other thing going on in Opportunity also in the last couple of weeks is we had our regional partners meeting, as well as I serve on the Foreign Trade Zone 183 of Central Texas Board. Both of those met last week. One of the things that you may or may not have noticed, we do an operational update for City Council every Friday to go out to City Council members. We've been pulling our updates out and sending them, at least for the last couple of weeks, to the board separately. And so you should be seeing the same thing the council sees in their operational update that the EDC includes in coming to you as board members. And we think this is going to be an effective way on a weekly basis to be able to keep you informed of what happened within the last 7 days at the EDC. Sometimes we go back 10 days because we missed something, and sometimes we go out because there's something coming up that we want everybody to know about. But be checking your inboxes on Fridays for that.
All right. Item 3.9, do we have requests from any of the Board of Directors for future agenda items?
Nothing except what I mentioned last time. Which was the Lake Lure
Yes,
Flowering Bridge.
Oh.
If you haven't gone and looked that up online, go do it.
Okay. We are going to move then into executive session. The Bastrop EDC Board of Directors will meet in a closed executive session pursuant to the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, to discuss the following. 1. Section 551.072, deliberation about the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, 921 Main Street, Good Soul Brewing Company, projects Sinkhole, Hot Tamale, Good Neighbor, and/or Minerals. 2. Section 551.087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations, projects Be Well and/or Minerals. Thank you. Item 4.2, the Bastrop Board of Directors will reconvene into open session to discuss, consider, and/or take any action necessary related to the executive sessions noted therein. 7:15, and we have no action item. Therefore, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.